Hey, you're listening to Winter Ramos, tuned in with my girl KP.
Good morning, Winter. How are you?
Hello.
How's your morning going?
Good. I just woke up a little while ago.
Okay. Well, I know that your schedule is really hectic, so I appreciate you taking this opportunity, and I'm just going to dive right into the interview.
Okay.
First off, we want to say congratulations on the book, Game Over My Love for Hip Hop, and also congratulations on the pregnancy. Two very awesome. You're welcome. Two very awesome occasions. And first question is, what made you pen the book and go ahead and move forward with publishing such a detailed view of your interactions within the industry?
Initially, I mean, at first, it was not even a thought in my mind. And, a few people had made reference, and I was like, yeah, right. Like friends of mine and people that I knew. And I didn't think it would be, I'm sorry, that it would be an interesting story because, it's your life. You live it every day. It's things that you do. It's just like, not to say that everyone lived it, but for me, it was just like, whatever. Right. And I work with Flavor Unit, and I was introduced to a lady who's a publisher who wanted to turn some of her books into movies. And we met, and in the process of that, her and I built a relationship. We started talking, and she was like, well, you should write a book. And I was like, girl, please, I'm not writing no book. You crazy? She's like, you seem to have great stories, and you seem to be very forward and truthful about everything. Like, you should just write a book. I brushed it off. Like, I didn't really think of it, at all. And then, other people were just saying it, and I had met up with a old friend of mine in Miami, and I was telling him about the show. I was like, I might do a little hip hop, and he's like, you should write a book. I was like, you know what? Everyone keeps telling me I should write a book. I've come in contact with someone who can actually make it happen. So it was like everything was just kind of being put in play. And if I was going to write the book, I mean, obviously it had to be truthful and detailed in order for it to be interesting and for young ladies to get an understanding of what it was. And, I want everyone to understand how I felt and what I went through in the experiences. I didn't want people to think I was just bashing someone or, trying to brag or, embarrass anyone. I just kind of wanted them to know my side of the story and how I felt and how I was handling it and how I handled situations and how I was able to, fall and pick myself back up and keep it moving.
Exactly. That is awesome. That's awesome because I have been looking at some of the other interviews, and that was my take on it. I was looking at it like this isn't a tell all to bash anybody. This is more so her giving her truth, and it just happens to be there are celebrities that were included in her truth. So
exactly.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad that you shared that, and that is awesome that you have so many people suggesting that you do that. Another thing I wanted to ask you, for authors who are trying to get published, would you suggest that they self-publish, or do you think that they should go the route of soliciting an agent and trying to get a major publishing deal? What would be your advice to someone who's always wanted to write? What steps would you encourage them to take?
I mean, I don't know. It all depends on what you're trying to do. If you want to be an author and you want that to be your career where, you're writing books on a regular basis and that's what you do for a living, I would suggest you get someone to represent you when you reach out to a publisher. But if, you just have a story or you just feel like you have these ideas in your head to write a book, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, and, this is just something that you want to do on the side, because I know a lot of authors who work 9 to 5 and they write, after work, then I think you can self-publish because that then becomes your side hustle.
Right.
So why try to split your money with someone when this is just really your side gig and something that you do on your off time and there's no deadline and, you can write how you want to write, what you want to write. There's no one behind you saying, no, you can't write that. Don't do that. I don't like this. But if this is something that you really want to do and you really want to become an author and that you want that to become your career, then of course you need to do it the right way.
Right. Okay. I love that answer. So, another thing, you've been in the hip hop industry for a while, so you have a lot of knowledge. You've, obtained a lot of strong connections. knowing what you know today, would you have chosen the same career path, or do you feel like you could have done something else differently that would have been less dramatic, or something else that you think that you could have even done better than what you've done today?
No, I don't think I would have chosen a different career path. What you read in the book are, good and bad situations, and I feel like the good situations outweigh the bad. I had a lot of fun. I made a lot of money. I made a lot of friends. I was able to travel. Sometimes work is play, and you kind of mix the two up. And I just felt like I wouldn't change anything. I mean, there are some things that as an adult, I would have made certain decisions as far as dating or accepting jobs when, I felt like the pay wasn't sufficient, but this is just part of the grind.
Right.
It becomes part of the hustle, it becomes part of the grind, and, at the end of the day, I was able to grow from every experience that I went through. So if I went through something in 2000, in 2001, I learned something from that. So I was able to keep moving forward. So I was never pulled down or anything. So no, I don't feel like I think I made a good decision.
Right. Okay, perfect. When I hear you speak about Jada Kiss, it's like this strong admiration, it's this, true friendship, this glow that just comes over your face. It kind of reminds me how Jada Pinkett and Tupac spoke with each other. What makes the relationship with Jada, the friendship, so special and so sincere?
I think it was because it lasted. I mean, this was someone who, I knew when, before he was big and famous and everyone knew who he was. And so for me, I just feel like I saw the struggle, I saw the grind, I saw the come up. So for me, it was special for me. I kind of seen it start from the beginning and make it to where it is. And I knew who he was then. And, I guess the money, the fame, and it all changed on the outside, but I think on the inside, he still remained the same person that he was. It's just that he couldn't allow everyone else to know that he was that same person. So he had to handle things in a certain way, or he felt like, he had to do certain things or make certain situations happen because I'm Jada now. I'm not this Jason kid that's, running behind Puff Daddy trying to get a song on the radio. Now I got my own songs and I put albums out and I got money now and I'm famous and women are throwing themselves at me. I don't think on the inside he got caught up with it, but I think because it happened on the outside and he felt like he had to portray this image, it destroyed us.
Right.
To a point where it was like, damn, it didn't have to go that route. It didn't have to be like that. And when you feel like you can have that conversation with a person and they genuinely accept the advice, but then they still do the same bullshit, it's just like, I'm talking to a freaking brick wall at the end of the day.
Right.
And then it hurts.
Definitely understandable. And I think that's a strong, point that you make, that sometimes, people, they remain the same on the inside, but because of the industry or because of life in general, they may appear differently. So that's a very, very sincere point that you made. Also, you mentioned working with several celebrities like Diddy, Fab, DMX, Ashanti, and many more. Out of every artist you've ever worked with, what's your most memorable experience, something that you'll never forget?
I think my most memorable experience with working in the industry was the day that Fab got shot. That for me was, I don't even know a word that could explain what it was. It wasn't fear, it wasn't anger, it was just hurt maybe? I don't know, but it was just something that for me, I was like all of those feelings in one. I was angry, I was hurt, I felt helpless. It was just so much, and to know that I was going to work, right. Hanging out on the corner, doing wrong, and it was a work thing, and the fact that him and I had never gone anywhere without each other, this was at one time when I was like, this is Puff's press play album with party, and Fab wanted to go to some dinner at Justin's, and I was like, well, I'll just meet you at the party. This is something that had never happened before. Like, meet him at the party, he would have allowed that. But for some reason, he was cool with it. Like, all right, cool, I'll pull you when I'm pulling up so you can come out and get me. And in the club, I was with Chrissy and another girlfriend of mine. And I see Chrissy running over to me, and she's frantic in her face. And I was like, what the hell? I'm thinking she had a fight in the bathroom or something. Like, what's going on? And she's like, I have to tell you something. So I get down off the couch, and she's like, Fab got shot. And I don't know if you ever seen in a movie where you're walking and you hear and see everything in slow motion.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like they were trying to get me out of the club, and she didn't have full details. It was just something that had been going around in the club that he had been shot. I didn't know if he really was shot. I didn't know if he had, he was dead, if he had got shot in the head. I didn't know what was going on. So I could just hear people as I'm walking out, like, what's going on? And I could just hear, and I swear for me, I was just like, I don't even know if I want to be a part of this anymore. Like, I just have to feel this way. And then even me walking out the club, like, shit, whoever shot him, are they gonna look for me too? Like, so to me, that was the most memorable situation I've ever experienced in the industry.
Yeah, and I just want to point out that, that shows a lot about your character, because you have had so many experiences, you've had so many, interactions, and it really just shows, okay, she's still, a woman herself. Forget about the industry. She's not speaking about who picked her up in this nice car. She's not speaking about who spent all of this money on her. She's speaking about an instance that affected her emotionally, something that money can't change. And that's really what I wanted to expose in my interview, that, let's take a look at her character. Let's not judge, just because we may not agree with certain situations, that she's a bad person. So I totally love the fact that you just shared that. That was very emotional. It was very sincere. And it was something that, like I said, money can't create that experience. That was an experience that affected you emotionally. So thank you for sharing that. I also wanted to just reach out on another topic. I'm a Southern girl, born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. In the South, you hear that you must live in New York City to truly make an impact in the music industry. And I just wanted to ask you, do you feel being from Brooklyn that gave your career an advantage, or do you feel you would be where you are today even if you would have grown up in, say, Little Rock, Arkansas?
Well, back in the 90s, if I was in Little Rock, Arkansas, I would have never had the opportunity.
Right.
Being in New York City and, being social and hanging out and going out and, going to high school and walking out of school and being able to see a little C's or, little Tim or Big hanging out on the corner and, seeing it firsthand and being able to hang out in the house where, all of these people are in one place and being able to see, I'm hanging out with them on Wednesday. When I get home Thursday, I can see them on television. It made me want to be a part of it and hands-on with it to see what goes on behind the scenes. So, I don't think, if I lived in a small town, I would have back then. I mean, now it's different with, social networking. You can find an artist or you can find a producer somewhere on Twitter or Instagram and, formulate a bond or reach out and send music and all that kind of stuff. But back then, I don't think there was any way. If you weren't in New York or LA, even Atlanta wasn't a place where, you would find too much of that. We had Outkast, but, it wasn't, that wasn't a place where you had to either be in New York or California.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you emphasized that. With me being from Memphis, the only thing going in Atlanta in the 90s was, hey, we can go to Six Flags. But the way that it's been exposed now.
For 112.
Yeah, exactly. But as far as, where being the Southern hip hop hub, it was nothing like that in the 90s.
No.
So, again, I'm glad that you, made that relevant as well. Now, about the show, do you feel like Love and Hip Hop has opened more doors for you to increase your productivity, or has it been a neutral effect on your career?
I mean, obviously, being on the show, it, gives people an idea of who you are. So, the exposure on the show as far as the book and just me being a person, whether good or bad, it boosts up the Twitter followers and the Instagram followers, and people were more interested in the bloggers or, putting my business out there. If it wasn't for the show, I wouldn't have those issues or those concerns. But I mean, as far as my life is concerned, I feel like it's been neutral. I mean, I made money. It was a situation where I was, I got paid a nice, amount of money, and I was able to promote my book, which helped a whole lot. You really can't buy that kind of promotion.
Right.
And, they were willing to, help me in promoting the book. And I don't even think that, like, they were helping me to promote the book, but that was pretty much my own storyline. I don't have a lot of drama and things of that nature. I've kind of moved on from the music industry into doing movie stuff. So, they had to figure out, okay, where does Winter fit in? I don't think I fit in with a lot of those girls and with what they have going on with grinding to get into this industry or chasing checks. I'm not experiencing that now.
Right.
So I didn't really fit in. I can understand and relate because what they're going through are things that I went through when I was 23 years old.
Right.
Now I'm 34. I'm just like, I'm not trying to manage an artist. I'm not trying to work at a label. I'm not trying to be at a video shoot. I'm not trying to do any of that kind of stuff. Even if there is a check involved. At this point in my career, I feel like those checks in the music industry, and I'm not saying that it's all bad, but the calls that I get for jobs as far as styling or assisting or whatever in the industry, it's not worth it for me anymore financially. Been there, done that, and it's time for Winter to move on to something. It's a really long time. It's not like I did it for 2 years and I was like, okay, I'm done with it. But for 10 years, like, enough is enough. Like, I have to move on. I have to expand. So, when I get called to do videos or photo shoots, Warner or Jeff Jim or something along those lines, I pass it on to an assistant. Like, I have people around me that want to style and want to do certain things, and I've always been the type of person to take care of people around me. So, I don't turn the job down, but I've already gone on to something else in my life, and I don't want to go back or look back. So I would prefer to give those situations to other people. But I don't think the show has. For me, it's neutral. I mean, I go outside and people recognize me, so that's different. So again, it's just the exposure, the recognition. But other than that, my life is still the same. I still eat the same things. I still go to the same places. I drive the same car. I live in the same apartment. So it hasn't really made much of a change.
Okay. And I love that too, that hey, you don't turn down the job, but if it gives someone else an opportunity to do something and allow you to still elevate and climb, it's still a win-win. So that's awesome as well. Now, you did mention that you're getting into the films and you met someone while working with Flavor Beauty. I did want to ask you, I saw that you were doing like creative costume designer work for Flavor. Do you find it a huge similarity to the music industry, a big challenge? Have you had a chance to work directly with Queen Latifah? Kind of go into detail about that and tell us why you moved into film and how you feel about it.
Film is totally different from music. I mean, when people hear Flavor Unit, they automatically think music, but it's totally different. As far as the actual styling part of it, it's different because when you style a video, you're styling for fashion, for what's in, what's hip, what looks good on the artist. When you're styling for a movie, it's more continuity. If you're a lawyer, I have to dress you like a lawyer. If you're a doctor, I have to put you, in a lab coat. So it's more structured. Your direction, you have a direction that you're going towards when you're working on a movie. For the most part, it's Monday through Friday. So you work a normal schedule, Monday through Friday, 12-hour days, and you have your weekends off. You get your check every Friday. I'm not submitting invoices and waiting 30 to 90 days to wait for payment on a job. There's no putting your money up front. You have to be there on time. It's way more responsibility, but artists, the actors are there on time. And the first movie I did was with Cameron, one of his movies called Percentage. And I've worked with, artists, but they're even different when it comes to, I've never worked with Cam on a video set, but I can guarantee you that when we were on the movie set, Kim was there at 8 o'clock in the morning. He left at 8 o'clock at night. He never left and went to hang out and come back when, it was nothing like that. We were always working. It was always a work. Now, we might go off to the side and hang out for like 20, 30 minutes, take a break or something like that, but we're on set. There's no, there's none of the girls running around and there's none of that. It's all structured. Everyone's working. Everyone that's around has something to do. There's no 10 homeboys just hanging out over there getting high or Hennessy shop at 11 o'clock in the morning. No, it's none of that. Absolutely at all. Shakim does not run his shop that way. I did work with Latifah on the last movie we did, House of Body. She was one of the actresses in the movie. She played like a phone operator or something like that. So yeah, I have worked directly with her. I don't have a relationship with her. My relationship is more with Shakim and, Ron Robinson and Otis Best, other producers, and, the line producers as far as that's concerned, because she doesn't handle that kind of stuff. She's more, when she comes into the picture, she's an actress.
Right. Okay.
But it's totally different. It's just structured different. The way you're treated is different. Like I said, they feed you every day. You have breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks all the time, and, you're compensated for your job. You're treated very well. There's no hassle, no headache. There's always kinks and, things that need to be worked out and ironed out. But, you have a boss like Shakim that you can go to and you don't feel like, well, if I bring this to him, how's he going to feel? No, he has an open door policy.
Right.
Whatever you need to know, we're all learning together. We're starting this production company. You guys are part of the company. They use the same, we use the same crew. Every movie that they do, it's the same crew. So it's more like family based. When we're all sitting in the cafeteria eating, Shakim's in the cafeteria with us eating. He may not be eating what we're eating, but he's eating with us.
Right.
So it's not, there's no one is superior to anyone, or no one acts as if they're superior to anyone. There's no, we've worked with Terrence Howard, Macy Gray, Melinda Woods, and it's just like everyone just, when you get on a movie set, because you're spending so much time with a person, it's like, I was with Terrence Howard for like 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? When you spend that much time with the person on a regular basis, you form a relationship. It's not like a music video where you're hired to shoot a music video. You're there for 13 hours with an artist. You never get to know who that person is. Right. They never get to know who you are. It's just you're there to do a job, Here, see you later. We'll give you your check in 3 months.
Right. Okay. I love that. And that you're actually like totally shining a beautiful light on Flavor Unit as well, because just to hear your experiences and how they're so positive, that means that they set a strong tone in your mind on how you should treat when you're working on a movie. So that's phenomenal. Yeah, that is very phenomenal. I did want to ask if you had any advice to independent hip hop artists that have goals of obtaining a major label deal. If you could give them a couple of jewels for thought, what would they be?
For an independent artist, I think you need to find great management who has the financial backing to help you fulfill your dreams if you don't have the money yourself. Keep in mind that there is no artist development in any of these labels. You have to pretty much come signed, sealed, and delivered with album in hand, single, already playing on the radio or some sort of buzz online. So you have to initially be your own label before a label will sign you. And be prepared for the no's and the letdowns, because there's going to be a lot of those. I always compare Fab with Rick Ross. You have an artist like Fabulous who never even thought about rapping and was presented with an idea and immediately became a superstar. And then you have an artist like Rick Ross who was signed to the Soft for almost 8 years before he was really discovered. And, Rick Ross has his own record label. He has, multi-platinum selling artists under his belt. And it took him 8 years to do that. Now, what would have happened if after the 4th year he would have been like, I'm over it, I'm tired, I can't keep him. He kept going. So, you can't say it's going to happen in 6 months, and you can't say it's going to happen in 6 years.
Right.
So this is just something, and if this is your goal, it's something that you really, really feel like you have the talent and you're gonna work hard and you're gonna go hard, just make sure you got the money to back it up. Because it's gonna cost you a lot of money before you make it.
Okay, and I just have one final question. If you were able to coach and develop young ladies who are eager to work in the hip hop industry, what's 3 rules that you give them and make them pretty much like consider as their mantras? So 3 things that would help them stay on track, stay productive, and stay out of trouble.
First and foremost, take out of your head that this is a boys' club and a male-dominated industry. Because as long as you feel like this is a boys' club and a male-dominated industry, you're never going to get where you want to be. Because you're always going to feel like, well, I'm not a man, and this is a boys' club, and that's bullshit. There's a lot of women that are in these offices that hold high positions. You don't see them because they work and they take their asses home and they take care of their family. They're not in the club. They're not out popping bottles and running up credit card bills for the label. They're not out flaunting and hanging out and on TV. But there are women that are in this industry that hold high powers in a lot of these labels. So first, that's one thing. Don't get into this with the mindset that this is a boys' club and I have to fit in with the boys. That's BS. You don't have to. 2, I would say, you have to work hard, male or female. You have to work hard, you have to focus, and if you're going to get involved in, because the music industry is not a job. You cannot say I'm going to go to work in the industry. It becomes a lifestyle. So once it becomes your lifestyle, then you're going to date these guys in this industry. Because if you're working with an artist, and you're with this artist 16 hours a day, your boyfriend or your husband or your fiance can't be the manager at McDonald's. It just doesn't work out that way. I'm sorry. And, at the end of the day, people can say what they want. It's realistic. You're not going to be making $200,000 a year and hanging out with the guy from FedEx. You're not even going to meet the guy from FedEx unless he's delivering you packages. And you just so happen to, it's a movie love tale thing. But once, you're spending a lot of time, you're going to get caught up with some of these guys. Maybe, maybe not. I'm assuming, yes, if you're a nice-looking young lady and you focus on this being your career and this being a lifestyle, it's going to happen. Yeah. Don't allow the personal to affect your work. If you are in a situation with a guy and it's just for fun, or he's telling you it's serious and you're thinking it's serious and come to find out it's not, or it was a joke, or he was playing around, or he was playing games, do not allow that to affect your work. You still go to work, you still hold your head up high, and you keep it moving. And 3rd, I would say for women, do not have children unless you're ready to give up the career. Because it's tough to balance both. In a situation like that, wait until you feel like I can take 3 years off, unless you want to be the type of parent who stays home for 2 months and then leaves your kid with an egg. Right. But if you don't want to be that type of parent and you want to be there because, again, it's a lifestyle, you may have to be in the studio from midnight to 12 in the afternoon. You're going to miss your kid's first suit coming in. You're going to miss your kid taking his first step. You're going to miss the first day of school. There's a lot of things that you're going to miss. As a woman, as a mother, if you don't want to miss those things, try to hold off as long as possible and starting a family. Wow. Those are definitely tools that if you are interested in this industry, you can grow from, you can build a foundation on, you have the real truth from Miss Winter Ramos. I just want to say again, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure, and I wish you success on all of your future endeavors. I feel like you are just a beautiful person inside and out, and it takes courage to actually tell the truth about your life and in an effort to help and bless others. So I definitely appreciate your time today. Thank you. You are so welcome.
I'm feeling like grinding, stay on my job. I just ride solo, not with a mob.
Turn off
Check
the radio.
marking right how I does that. I'm feeling like what you is what you say.
Turn up.
You're riding with my clip, but it's only me. Middle finger to the haters, how they supposed to be.
Turn up.
Contract killer when I'm on this beat. I'm so cold, the realest when I'm on this beat.
Turn up.
I know I got them sick, no swine flu. I gotta get this cash, cause it's time to. I'm feeling like
turn up, turn up.
Yeah, finally made a way for me, and I dare you to try to take it from me. Cause what you see in my life right now, this is all I got. If you walk in my path, better hold on to what you got. Cause it's no holding back, I'ma tell you now that's a fact. Yeah, check it. It's like I'm standing in a small space. It's like I'm walking through a narrow hallway. Back in my mind, been contemplating all day. How the hell I'm gonna get my songs played?